Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. Thanks for joining me today. So today I have a different kind of video for you. It's a real-time video, but it's a freehand sketching video. So I did this squirrel for the Patreon members for the $10 tier. So this full colored pencil study, including the sketching process, is available on there. So if you want to draw along with the whole project, have a look at the link in the description. I'd love to welcome you there. But in this video, I'm going to show you the sketching process of this squirrel. So you can draw along with me if you want. So I picked this photo from Pixabay, and first starting out with the Graphite Sketch. It's just a small study, but feel free to sketch along with me to maybe practice your freehanding. It's very fun to do, and it really teaches you a lot. So I hope you'll enjoy it. Let's get started. So make sure your pencil is nice and sharp. And then first I'd like to mark where I want the top and the bottom of my squirrel to end, so I know the size a little bit. So I'm feeling that I want the head to be somewhere around here, so I just place a little line down, and then the feet I want to end about, let's do about there. Let's not make it too small, otherwise it's going to be really hard to fill in the eye and the hands. So this will be the bottom. And then the tail will end somewhere around here. And the right edge will be somewhere around here. So this doesn't need to be super exact, but this gives you an idea of how large you want your drawing to be. And then it won't be too large for the paper. That's the most important thing. Alright, so then I like to start with the head. I always like to start with the head. And just find the basic shape in it. So I'm taking a starting point, so that will be the neck area. And I'm going to skip the ears. So I'm going to imagine that this is the top of the head. The ears are going to come slightly above. And then here we have that neck coming down diagonally, and then we have the back attached to that. So here we have a starting point, and I'm holding my pencil very close to the end, and I'm holding it quite flat on the paper, and this will make sure that your pressure is not too high. Otherwise it's going to be hard to erase the sketch lines. So let's start with that. We have the neck, a little bit of back coming up. And then let's first do the head. So the forehead is coming down a little bit more, so let's create this curve. And then the forehead, so look at that diagonal line and try to recreate that line. Not too much down, somewhere like that. You can always adjust it. Try to not erase anything until you're done with the basic sketch. Alright, so if you compare this neckline to the forehead line, you can see that the forehead is longer. So make sure that this line is longer than this line. And then we're coming down to the nose. Little curve down. Then the nose is sticking out just a little. And I keep comparing to the base lines that I drew. So right now I'm feeling that the head will be a little bit too large. I already see right now that the head is too large. So let's shorten that. Shorten that nose. And I try to sketch quickly. Put that back up a little higher. All right, so here we have that walnut. So let's move on first to the jawline. So here we have the jawline coming. Cheek. And then the chin. Now we can attach the top lip. So he has his mouth open just a little. And then here will be that walnut. So let's just sketch it in very quickly. It doesn't need to be the exact right shape yet. So that will be about there. We'll get to that later. Look at that chin here. Okay, so this is the basic shape of the face. Make sure it's not too round or too ovally. Compare it. So I'm going to make that forehead a little bit more curvy and less flat. And now here we can sketch the ears. So we have this jaw, ears coming right from the jaw, going up. And then I'm trying to match the shape of it a little. And then it goes right back in that forehead, just where the forehead starts. Now I'm seeing that the ear might be a little bit too large, so let's shorten it slightly, like that. Other one, you can see less of the other one. It's coming down, it's coming up a little less high. Okay, so there we have the very base of the head. Before we put in the eye, let's move on with the rest of the body first. So we have that and back. It's going up slightly. And then the back is coming down quite vertically. So we have the back going into the hind legs, the thighs. Following that roundness, and I try to work quickly so that I don't keep fiddling on too long in one little area. And also I keep comparing the size of the body to the size of the head. Body might be a little bit too large at this stage. let's keep it like this. So I try to find, when I move along, the most logical points to keep on sketching. Here from that jaw, you can see the shoulder coming. So here we have the shoulder. Here we have shoulder, little shoulder blade. And then this is the shoulder. You can see the elbow as well. It's a little pointy part. And then from the elbow we have this little flap of skin going in that direction. And then the arm is actually very similar to our arm. So you can see this forearm here. And then the hands. There are actually 2 arms and 2 hands. So this is one arm coming up a little towards that walnut. And then the other one is coming from below. You can see a little bit of that as well. Then here you can see that chin and a little bit of the chest area right here. Let's do these hands later. Let's just make sure that the start of this arm is correct. And then I can move on to the legs and then finish with the details. Look at the size of that wrist. The wrist is actually very small compared to the size of the elbow. And of course it doesn't matter too much if the size of the head is a little bit too big or too small. No one will notice. Alright, so now I feel I can move on from this part. So we have this flap of skin sketched in. And then from that flap of skin I can move on to the leg area, the thigh. He has quite a big thigh because he has to jump all the time. So he needs a lot of muscle to do the jumping. I did make his leg a little bit too thick though, so let's shorten that. And then you can see the paw coming out from about there. Okay, let's move on. So you can see this little triangle part. The belly area is white, so you can see this triangle coming down from the elbow diagonally. Now you can see if this triangle is the right size. And it's about right. And then let's move on to the other paw. I'm comparing with the photo to see where this leg is coming from. About the center of the arms, the forearm. There. Okay. So we have the bottom of the butt coming up towards the other paw right here. Now I can see if I made this leg the right thickness. I feel like it has to be a little thicker, this paw, like that. Alright, so look at the feet now. I think I need to zoom out a little, otherwise the feet are not going to fit on the screen, like that. Okay, so this right foot is coming up a little bit higher than the left one. So I feel like the right one is going to end about here. Then the right one is going to end about there. So the feet are pretty tricky, so let's put in the basic shape first. So we have the heel coming here. Let's do the top of the paw. The feet are really large, so compare where the foot ends to this walnut area. You can actually see that the foot ends about halfway off the walnut, so about here. Well, actually right underneath the nose, so it ends about there. Little toe coming up. And then we have one little toe here. This is like the thumb. So that's about there. Then the other ones are very long. Let's first do the shapes of the toes themselves. So I'm going to skip the claws for now. One toe, other one coming from behind. This is a pretty tricky thing to sketch. So keep the pressure light on the pencil. Try to not add more pressure if you do these small little areas, because that's going to be hard to erase. Look at the knuckles as well. All right, so that's one foot in. Let's do the other one. This one is coming up towards us a little bit more, so it changes the perspective, which is pretty tricky. So let's do the heel again. And the start of the foot. Then those toes are coming up again. Especially that very left toe is coming all the way up. Okay, making sure that there's enough room for all four of the toes. Skipping the claws again for now. Let's first make sure that all the toes are in. Okay, so let's leave this. Let's see if this foot is big enough. I think it can be a little bit bigger. So now I can have a look at the whole image to see if there's anything that looks off. And I do think my head is a tad too large, but I don't think I will adjust it. Maybe do a little bit off the nose here. But I think that's it. Let's add the claws to the paws. Coming up. All right, let's leave that like that. Let's correct the shape of the walnut now. Make it a little smaller. You don't see all of it, but I'm just sketching it all to make sure that it doesn't look off. You can see the end coming to a point a little bit more. All right, so now I can put in the hands. So you can see the thumb disappearing behind the walnut right here. And then we have 3 fingers, the middle one being the longest. One finger. Drawing hands is always tricky. Coming down a little bit. Then the middle one coming down a little bit more and sticks out quite a lot. So let's just do the basic shapes first. And the last finger, curving a little bit. Adding claws. Okay, so looking quite weird at this point. This will need shading to make it look realistic. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Oh, actually, when zooming in, I now see how they're going. So actually, this one goes down. It's not very clear on the picture. This one goes down. And then there's another claw coming from underneath. And then actually, he has another finger. Okay, let's leave this. We have another hand. You don't see all of it, so we see little finger here with the claw coming like that. Actually, that needs to be up higher. So let's erase that. This one is tricky to sketch. Definitely one of the harder ones in this tier. Okay, one. Next finger. Quite big claws as well. Alright, so leaving it like that. I'm alright with this. Let's do the tail so we can see the tail fluffing out. Like that. We don't need to sketch the straight shape of that, so let's just draw all these little lines indicating the shape of the hairs. It comes all the way to the top of the back. Let's make this tail nice and fluffy. Alright, so then the final thing we have to do is put in the eye and do the erasing. Maybe do some final details here and there, but let's do the eye first. So the eye is pretty high up. You can see it's on a pretty straight line from the center of the ear right here to the nostril. The head of my squirrel is a bit more faced down, so I need to keep an eye on that. So I'm drawing this line, and do that too with your own drawing. And then the eye is placed a little bit more towards the ear. So it is in the center, but a little bit more towards the ear. So the center of the eye, the inner corner of the eye is about there. It goes up. Then let's first draw this almond shape. Do that pretty fast. Make the eye nice and large, not too large though. And then you can slightly adjust the shape. All right. Nostril is there. Lip area is very dark. And then that's it. That's it for the sketch. I'm going to leave it this way, not add any more detail. What I'm going to do now is take the kneaded eraser and erase everything that I don't want in there. So all the wrong sketch lines I'm going to erase. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the sketching process. Let me know if you've drawn along and what you thought of it. And then this is what the squirrel turned out like when it was colored in. So if you want to follow along with the whole project, have a look on Patreon in the description. And then I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.